So good afternoon. Hopefully everyone enjoyed their lunch break. And the session that we're going to do this afternoon for the next 30 minutes or so is called Winning with a Why Now. Before I get into that, though, how many of you think that you would get better results with your sales funnel and closing your opportunities if you had a stronger why now? Anyone? Okay. How many of you have had to learn the lesson the hard way that not having a strong why now could potentially cause you a sale or a delay or something else that potentially makes you have to push that deal out further? Okay, great. Well, thank you all for your time this afternoon. And again, as I did yesterday, I want to thank you for being here because, again, I know from watching everyone during lunch, I know there's emails you need to catch up on, there's customer demands, there's deals you're trying to close. It's no secret there's 15 days left in the quarter. So I promised today to give you some tools, again, that will help you solidify your why now so that you will have a better impact on your executive sponsorship, and also really to have an overall better control of the whole buying process as a result of that. So I know we did some quick introductions this morning, and I bet some of you might be asking yourself right now, what does she know about a why now? I mean, she's been this sales training manager now, for a year, and how is she qualified to talk about this? So would it be okay if I share a quick story about where I learned firsthand how important a why now is? Okay, so it was September about a year ago, and it was my last quarter being a system sales consultant, and my boss, God bless his heart, John Stieber, emails me the day after Labor Day and says, Amy, I need you to close the Veterans Affairs Medical Center Lemire system opportunity in Danville, Illinois by the end of this month, okay? So that's like less than 30 days, folks. I remember hearing that and telling myself, there's no way I can do this. I don't have a why now. And one of my favorite sayings that Andy DeScenzo, one of my mentors, says is no problem, no deal. If you don't have a why now, you really don't have a reason the customer, they don't have a reason they're going to buy from you. So as I went into this opportunity, all the little voices in my mind were telling me why I couldn't close this deal. And I remember I got one moment of reason where I told myself, maybe I could just get in there and see what I can do with this customer. So I did team up with Eric Kaldal with dispensing. He had some relationships in pharmacy. And I started getting to know some people in the account, and I quickly found out there were some problems. This hospital had an infusion unit with about 4 stations with the Lemire system, and the rest of the hospital, they had B. Braun pumps, Outlook 100 to be specific, with no safety software. So how many of you think that might be a patient safety risk? Okay. The other thing I noticed is that they were not meeting the new standards that we've heard about, the Veterans Health Administration mandating, if your patients are on PCA, they should also have integrated monitoring. So what I did in that opportunity is I took the first piece of information I found out. Number one, the 4 or 5 patients you're taking care of in this part of your hospital are getting safe infusion care, but the rest of them, honestly, are at risk. They're at risk of infusion medications right now as we speak. I'll be upfront with all of you. The chief logistics officer was not very happy with me when she heard I was saying this to the nurses, and she called me on the phone and we had a conversation, and she said, hey, what are you doing talking to my staff and telling them about this? What are you trying to cause here? And I was honest, and I said, Sue, my role here in this hospital, and quite frankly the state of Illinois, is to make hospitals safer. My role is to be a safety consultant and to try to look for the holes in the floor in terms of medication safety, and that's exactly why I'm having this conversation with you right now. So she instantly started, well, I shouldn't say instantly, she eventually started getting on board with me, and she was able to facilitate an opportunity which was originally going to be about $25,000 for just end-tidal CO2 and PCA. We booked that deal close to $400,000, and we booked it on September 27th. So I learned from that opportunity that a why now is not only critical, but it got me an executive sponsor, and secondly, it also helped to accelerate the buying process. Does that make sense to everybody? Especially those of you, I know some of you might be saying, you know what, I know this, Amy, I've been here for X years, but I know there's some of you in the room that are newer. But no matter what, I think we can all agree that as a team, we always have to go back to the basics, right? Any sports team, any high-performing team, is something we do. So that's exactly what we're going to do today. So the main things that I'm going to focus on, go ahead, is number one, I want to go back to the basics. We're going to do just a quick refresh on sales process, where does the why now come into play? How does it impact executive sponsorship? How does it impact the buying process? We will also go through an exercise where you're going to have the opportunity to take some time and work on a current opportunity you have, and you're going to be able to share what is the why now, not just for the opportunity, but what's the personal why now for the executive sponsor. So my ultimate goal, again, is that you can use this information to make sure that you can facilitate these discussions within your accounts, but more importantly, how many of you ever get the calls from your regional sales director saying, hey, what's the why now on this? Or better yet, you're on a demand tracker call, and someone is being asked about the why now by Rick Giametti. I mean, I don't know about you all, but I don't want to be on the receiving end of that conversation if I don't have a why now in my opportunity. Does that make sense? Okay, great. So let's go ahead